Hey guys, back here in the office, editing videos from Sunshine State Seminar 2022, and excited to share with you all this next clip. Tabitha Ogle is a respiratory therapist. She's an Army veteran and also an industrial organizational psychologist. During day two of our event, Tabitha presented a fantastic, very engaging presentation. And after her presentation, I had a chance to be able to catch up with her and to be able to deep dive into a particular concept that she shared. Really excited for you all to take this in. I hope that it piques some curiosities. And if you want to see her full presentation, it'll be available on the FSRC website for you to be able to consume, and then also for you to be able to utilize for continuing education credits. Her contact information is going to be down in the comments below, and hope you enjoy. Take care. Tabitha Ogle. Tabitha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored to be here and to represent respiratory therapists and the military and IO psychology.
Yes, and actually, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your background?
For sure. So, I'm Tabitha. I served in the United States Army for 8 years. I was a combat medic and then transitioned to respiratory. I had the honor of serving as respiratory, though it wasn't my first choice. And with that, I found a love for advocacy. I loved advocating for my patients. I loved being the voice of the voiceless. And what I noticed transitioning civilian to or military to civilian was that organizations had a little bit more dysfunction than I had anticipated.
Okay.
And that led me to the curiosity of IO psychology, which again speaks for the advocacy. The IO psychologist is the humanistic side of organizations.
Okay.
So we look at data and research and find out ways to make employees the most functional by being the most satisfied.
All right. Okay. So IO psychology, that stands for
Industrial organization psychology.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. And when we're talking about your background, where'd you end up going to school?
I got my bachelor's degree at University of Central Florida.
Okay.
And then
Go Knights.
Go Knights, woo! And then I got my master's at Walden University.
Okay, fantastic. So today, at the end of your talk, obviously you had a variety. You had some questions after your talk, but then you had some people have to come up to you afterwards because they just wanted to get more tidbits or some more insights. Obviously, normally share their experience and try to get maybe have it filtered through your lens.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you talked about today had to do with a theory by Dr. Dudley E. Flood. Right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about that theory.
Okay, so Dr. Dudley E. Flood was instrumental in the desegregation of North Carolina schools way past desegregation time. And he had to battle multiple communities wanting to advocate for their perspective. And with that, he came up with a couple different ways to combat and to enhance the perspective during conflict. And one of those was what, so what, and what now.
Okay.
Naturally, when we have conflict with someone, we come in from a defensive mode, and that triggers the negative emotions in someone else. And with that, when we are emotionally charged in conflict, we can't hear what the other person's saying because we're so fixated on saying what we want to say and to be heard. So with the what, so what, and what now, we look at the conflict by saying, what's the conflict at hand?
Okay.
So what? Why does it matter to both parties? And then once both parties are able to articulate why it matters, what now? What can we do moving forward to honor and to be seen, to be heard, and to create a more realistic outcome?
I think that I think very typically from a leadership perspective, we see that as a great way to be able to have conversations with our staff. But I do think sometimes, obviously, when individuals bring things to us as staff members, right, a lot of times that's where we find ourselves in conflict because maybe we're getting information that maybe we weren't in a good place to be able to hear or weren't prepared to be able to hear. And so do you find that this kind of dialogue also would work well from a staff member speaking to a leader or someone having to bring them information in that regard?
Yeah, it's honoring the emotions involved in the conflict.
Okay.
And when we bring it to light, expressing in a way to be seen and heard, but also being ready to hear
Yeah,
and
so
to
good.
see. A lot of times as employees, we're so fixated on this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. And our fish lens, we see that problem, but we don't understand how the leadership's going to see it.
I My mind is blown, truthfully, in this conversation because I think it's things that some people navigate better than others. But the theory creates a practical framework that I think anyone can work around. I think you even made comments about how could benefit personal relationships.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no, I think that that's a great takeaway for people because, I think if we think about some of our struggles at work, sometimes they make their way in how we communicate, even outside the four walls of our employers.
Yeah, we're human beings. We're like sponges when it comes to emotions.
Yeah.
Um, a thing that I like to think of when it comes to conflict is entering that conflict with a state of curiosity.
Okay. That's good.
Um, and entering in a state of curiosity creates conversation and dialogue
That's good.
versus getting ready for battle and creating
Yeah.
frustration and animosity.
Well, you're right, because when you are in that battle framework, just as you lob that first volley, you are preparing to shelter yourself against what may come, and in that sheltering, you're already putting up a filter or a barrier as to whatever that's going to be.
Absolutely.
So that's a great analogy to that. So Tabitha, I think that this is a subject that more people would want to engage about. And as we take this information, this video, and be able to share it with other people, I wondered how people might be able to connect with you and be able to connect with your company to better glean insights from your resources.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website,
Okay.
www.oglecoaching.com.
Okay.
I'm on the social medias, LinkedIn, Tabitha Ogle, Facebook, Tabitha Ogle, and then on Instagram, at Coach Tab Ogle.
I like it.
And reach out. I love having conversations with people. I love understanding the more diversity when it comes to perspective, so that when I do research and I reflect on the research that I have in front of me, I can kind of create more of a narrative for an individual versus seeing it as a collective group.
Oh, all right. Sounds like you're going to get very, very busy very, very soon, I would imagine. Tabitha, thank you again for joining us at Sunshine Seminar 2022, and look forward to maybe talking to you soon.
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.